Hey friends, so today I wanted to talk about white sage and its part in the collective healing process that we are all undergoing at the moment. And what I have to say about this plant may surprise you, but maybe not all of you because this information that I'm sharing has definitely been widely known and spread for a while, but I do know that not everyone is aware of it, or they just weren't taking it as seriously before. And maybe now that a lot of things have been brought to the surface, that people will take it more seriously. And that is that white sage should not be used by you or myself unless you or I grow the plant ourselves, or if we find a source that takes the seed and grows the plant itself. Unless you are a part of the indigenous tribes that have tended to white sage in the wild for a very long time, then there's absolutely no reason that you should be using this plant that was wild crafted, because the elders of these indigenous tribes have asked us as a collective to stop using this plant. This plant is endangered because people are going out and they are wild crafting it. And that means that they are illegally harvesting it. Many people have seen in the news that people have been fined for backpacking out like pounds and pounds and pounds of white sage, but it still isn't getting the attention it deserves because there are still people using sage left and right. A part of our society right now and our culture is to say when something has gone awry, like, let's sage this space, or you need saged. And the reason why that's problematic is because it encourages the idea that sage is the thing you need to buy to get rid of whatever problem you're having, or to make an area smell good, or to clear and cleanse a room. And that's just not true. There are so many other really great herbs that have very similar properties and effects on a space and that aren't endangered. And if unless you are a part of the culture that has tended to this plant and has have been making it a part of their tradition to go out and harvest it, that's a part of their culture, and we are taking that away from them if we are buying from sources that are wild crafting this plant and then selling it to us. When you go into your yoga studios, when you go into a spiritual store, when you go into an apothecary, Walmart. Walmart's not going to answer you on this, but they sell sage. That's not cool. Ask these store owners where do they source? Where do they source their sage? And unless they can say that they grow it themselves or that they buy it from a source that grows it themselves, ask why. Share with them this information. Because maybe they're not aware. Maybe they don't know that what they are doing is actually unethical. And we would like to think that if you're going into a space where you're buying something for spiritual practice, or doing something like yoga or meditation, that they would really want to have ethics in mind with anything that they put in their space. So demand better from these places, because that's what we have to do as a collective to change things. And it is within our power to do this. So think a little bit more deeply about what it is you consume beyond white sage. If you consume carton after carton of almond milk, think about, or do some research on rather, as to what that does to the environment, what that does to bees, because that's really important information to have. And it's important that we recognize our role in taking care of the environment and taking care of each other. that's also why it's important for us to eat locally and support local farmers and support small businesses, because then it brings more of a real perspective into what it is you are consuming and where it's coming from and how it's grown and who are the people, working for this company or for this small business. It's better to just do everything this way and start with the white sage. If you have white sage and you didn't know that this plant is devastated and that it's devastating the culture that has taken care of it, then use what you have left very with a lot of intention and a lot of care. I have some white sage that someone gave me a couple years ago, and I save it for very special moments. And like leaf by leaf, I have burned this little bundle that someone gave me. And the same goes for Palo Santo. Palo Santo, the tree that Palo Santo comes from, is endangered, and it takes such a long time to cure the tree, to harvest the Palo Santo, and to grow the tree. Do some research on that as well, because we should not be using either of those herbs or trees. So things that you can use instead of white sage. You can use mugwort, which grows super abundantly. It has a really nice aromatic. All of these are going to have really nice aromatics, and they're going to cleanse the space that you're in. You could use rosemary, like rosemary in your culinary herbs. You can use cedar and juniper. Those are two of my favorites. Gosh, they smell incredible, and they bring such an inner peace for myself whenever I burn them. So I really encourage you to try out either of those. There are a lot of different sources that you can find the same effects for. And the more we normalize using other plants, then that's how we dig ourselves out of the hole that we have gotten ourselves in by making this plant endangered. So I'm interested to hear what other herbs you have used to cleanse a space or use aromatically, such as sage, and then also any thoughts or questions you might have on this topic. So if this is new information to you and you have a friend group or you have a yoga studio you go to and there's someone out there who doesn't know this information, either tell them yourself or send them this video, and then it's a part of the collective process. We have to respect the earth and we have to respect each other because it's all connected, and that's how we do better as a whole. So thanks for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.